Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or amongst the 50% of people watching this that have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, and most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected, and number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcome back on the next show. With that, I'm going to transition across to the live stream on my iPad so I can share the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and I would positively encourage anybody who is also in the live stream to please share the show. It makes a huge difference. So the sharing basically gets the live audience to increase, and the increase in live audience members means a greater chance of a more diverse panel. So please, please, please share the show. One more time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. So we've been joined by our first participant, Hank Hill. Very pleased to have you here. Can you hear me? Maybe rustling to click the mic button. Well, in any event, we've got Hank Hill as our first participant. Hopefully he'll come back to the mic any second and say hello. If not, I'll say hello to him when our next guest arrives. So I've just shared the show on Facebook, Skype and Twitter, and one more time I would encourage anybody who is in the live audience to please share the show, as it will increase the chances of a more diverse panel. So yes, I'm going to do a few shout outs to the people who have joined us already. Roll up to the top. Daniel Reza, good to have you here, my friend. Pleased to see you. Please share the show. Scooby-Doo, good to see you. Thanks for being here. P Mars says hi. Hi to you too, P Mars. Thanks for being here. Daylight Ohio says expletive. It was removed by me in the chat. None of that. Nick L, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Channel Q, nice to see you as well. You were on yesterday. Good to have you on. Shill Scanner, my favourite at the moment. How you doing, Shill Scanner? Watched your most recent music video today. Missed it from 4 days ago. I'm not sure how. I have subscribed to you. Stephen Chess, hello. Potatoes Assemble. Arwin, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Regular viewer and participant. Can't believe I'm going to say that. I'm going to check that it is actually the real Tim Osman. It is! Tim Osman, good to have you here. Thanks for being here. HootYube, get it right. Pleased to have you here. Formerly YouTube. Cat Earth, nice to see you. I'm sure we'll hear something from you today. I'm in no doubt. And Jamie Woodstock, nice to see you as well. Paul Voigt, another participant, physicist, good to have you. Hope I've got your name right. HSP Gang, nice to see you too. So if anybody does join, we've already got one participant, so the second somebody else joins, I can stick myself on mute. So yes, I'll run through my links one more time, and hopefully we'll be joined by our second debater. So if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, so toss me a buck or two in there if you're enjoying the stream. If not, stick a thumbs down on it. And if most importantly you would like to join the debate and challenge Hank Hill, or just simply discuss the shape of the Earth, there is a link in the info box below this video. With the page you are currently watching on mute, simply click that link to join the show and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. And number 2, if you do swear and are ejected for doing so, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If anyone else has joined, if not, I'll go back to my photos and wait for the next person to join. Rob S, good to have you. Thanks for being here. Please share the show. Hate Laros. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but I'll say it as it's spelt. So yeah, good to have you here. Hopefully I haven't butchered your name. Rebel, thanks for being here. Contribute to the stream and chat and all those good things. Nice to see you. I think I've pretty much got to the end, so yeah, I'm going to transition to my photos and I will rejoin you in the chat and Hank Hill when we get our next guest. If not, you'll hear exactly the same information again in about 5 minutes' time. Sean Pierce says, "What's up, Nathan? Sky, moon, stars, usual stuff. Pure Anarchy, good to have you. Nice to see you." Said it was good to have you here a bit.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that not too long ago, feedback.
You're on, you're live. It's all good.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to say, not too long ago, they said the Michelson-Morley experiment was to disprove the ether, and, I want to call them out on that. Actually, it was to prove the motion of the Earth, and I got Lawrence Krauss on video saying that that's what it was for. So, does anybody want to disagree with, the educated particle physicist, Lawrence Krauss?
No, I've never contested that. That's absolutely the case. It was deemed a failure to prove that the Earth was moving. That's why it was deemed a failure, and that often gets turned around against people who cite that as it was a failure. Well, obviously it's a failure as a test. It's like, no, it failed to prove the thing it set out to prove, which was that the Earth moves, and it doesn't. The sky moves, or the stars move above our head. According to that experiment.
Man, it just sounds good when you Brits say that stuff. It sounds all sophisticated. There we go.
Been joined by Sleeping Warrior. Very pleased to have you here.
Yo, I just thought I'd step in just to throw a cat amongst the pigeons, because the minute I get in, there's usually going to be the trolls that follow me. Like Curved, PMARS, the usual.
You mean valued participants? That's what you mean, I think.
So Hank, the Michelson-Morley experiment. I didn't. As I was coming in, you were talking about it. Just finish off what you said about the Michelson-Morley experiment before I came in.
I'm at work, so Nathan will repeat it for me, please.
Oh, right, okay. I can see Hank's going to be a valuable member of the debate panel tonight if he's in work.
I thought he was referring to Aries' failure, so not.
Oh, I thought I heard Michelson-Morley.
I'm sure he did say Michelson-Morley, and I just immediately referred to a different experiment, so that's just me being an idiot.
Well, I heard GeoStreamer in with Truth Seeker having a discussion, but as I joined, Truth Seeker left because he was and does Hank need to be muted? Yeah, I think so. And GeoStreamer, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure GeoStreamer said that the Michelson-Morley failed to show that there was an ether or prove that there wasn't an ether. And I was like, that's not what the Michelson-Morley experiment showed. So I'm gonna have to rip off what his audio said, because I literally joined as he was saying it, and I thought that's not right. Go on.
I've been joined by Pure Anarchy and David. Good to have you here. David was in first. How you doing, David?
How y'all doing?
Good to
Nathan, you didn't kick me out right away.
No, I just gambled that you were a real one. So how you doing, Pure Anarchy?
Nah, it's all good, man. I understand somebody's running around, you know, sniping people with an exact avatar and exact name. So I don't hold it against you.
Nope.
You did yesterday.
No, I wasn't holding it against him. He understands he could add me in, and there's a way to do it by going directly to me messaging him and giving him my email address. I mean, there's a way around it. It's his rules. I understand it. I didn't know if he knew that he could or not.
Probably. I'm just lazy.
Yeah, they're trying to silence the flat Earth truth over there, ain't they?
Oh, David, I didn't see you come in. Hey, I've got something to share with you. Do you remember the guy that was we were talking about the ISS footage the other day, and whether the vacuum in space was whether it was a suck or whether it was the pressure that was blowing it from the inside, with regards to things like the balloon and all. Do you remember the conversation? Was a vacuum in space? Was it a suck, or was it the thing inside being pushed out? And my position was initially 14 psi is not that much. It's a child's air pressure of a tire. But then I did a bit of looking in to see whether or not what you were saying was right, and you were indeed right. I changed my position with you and started to support you. But everybody else was saying, no, it's not a suck. It's just a lower pressure, and it gets blown from the inside. Well, I've got something I want to share with you guys. So, Nathan, if you share my screen, I just want to share this. Let's pick on this one and favorites, and then it should be down at the bottom. Now, what this is a vacuum glass, and what he does is he fills he empties the vacuum chamber of all its air, and then we're left with a good vacuum inside this this chamber. So as you can see now, he takes the tap off, and then he's going to remove it from the system. We're just having a hailstorm here at the minute. I don't know if you can hear that. And what he does is he shows that when he releases the vacuum, it's sucking all the water into it. So those people that argue that it's not a suck, it's the pressure of the water outside going in, I don't think so. It appears to be a suck. Let me just
no, you watched air pressure being pushed into it.
And the second thing is, this is a vacuum chamber.
It's like the person that joined us, YouTube, sniped out Anthony Riley, so I'll just bring him back in on Skype. Usual dance by the looks.
Man, all you had to do is disagree with him. I was about to disagree with him. You didn't have to snipe him. That makes you look very dishonest.
Yeah, I disagree with him as well, and I did when he first brought it up. You know, it's the pressure of the air pushing down on the water beneath whatever you've got with a vacuum above it that pushes the water up into the vacuum chamber. So it's a pressure differential, but Anthony Riley wants to fight this corner for more power to him. You know, good for him. I'm not going to stop him.
Try to keep your emotions in check. You're not a teenage girl, right?
Yeah, it's like siphoning gas.
Let's bring do this. There we go.
Riley out of here.
He'll be back in 10 seconds. There we go.
I need a
actually while we got David here. Actually, I got something, because me and you have we've had a conversation about maps.
Yes, sir.
And what we were talking about is that the military has topographical maps that are accurate up to 5 meters.
Yeah, I believe it.
They've used them for land navigation across the United States. They've used them for land navigation overseas. But you claim that they don't have accurate maps, but
Well, how many acres do they tell you is in the world? How many acres are in the world?
Hold on before you let me finish before you start. Quit being rude, please. Quit being rude. Now,
I'm being rude.
You're talking while I'm still making my point. It doesn't matter how many acres in the world. What we know is that across that we know all across Afghanistan, all across Iraq, all across Africa, Mogadishu, Somalia, North Vietnam.
Yeah, they're working on those. They know where those oil wells are. You know that.
Hold on. So, in all of these conflicts, and even across the United States in different military bases and different places that the militaries have been, we have been accurately able to get troops from one location to another using topographical maps. Yet your claim is we don't have accurate topographical maps, but we've been able to get troops from one location to another across miles. Hundreds of miles we've been able to transport troops. Thousands of miles we've been able to transport troops using only that map, and up to an 8-digit grid coordinate to go from point A to point B.
Right, before anybody responds, I'm going to introduce, there's a whole bunch of people. We've got a full panel all of a sudden, so I'm going to go in the order that they joined. I think P. Mars was in first, so if I can say hello to P. Mars first.
Pure Anarchy is a liar.
Okay, yeah, that's enough from you, P. Mars. Right, next it was Vegan. How you doing, Vegan?
Can you hear me this time?
We can't, but I will sort that out. I'll make you louder, don't worry. And who was next? I think Brenda was in next. How you doing, Brenda?
Good evening.
Good evening to you too. And I think the next one in was Gem Panda. No, it was Alex. How you doing, Alex?
Hello, I'm just here for Curved. He's asleep in Rick's hangout, which is off air. But I'm just saving his space for when he comes back.
Jolly good. Being very obedient there, Alex. And the last one in, I think, was Gem Panda. I know we've got Skyfly Bry as well. Gem Panda, how you doing?
Hi, good evening. Thank you.
And last but not least,
nearly
there.
Oh, yeah,
and last but not
team,
least, we've got Skyfly Bry. How you doing, Skyfly Bry?
We're teaming up over here.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, everyone.
God, it was when you arrived, David. We knew we needed.
Yeah, we needed help, man.
Yeah, let Riley back on here.
You're a one-man army, Dave.
I've only come on to ask Nathan a question.
Oh, don't ask me anything.
Can you answer the question? Do you work for Tesco's?
I do work for Tesco's.
So, when do you work for Tesco? Because you're on a lot, mate.
That's a bit personal, isn't it?
It is a bit personal.
No, it's not. It's not.
Come on, man. It's just rude, man.
Yeah, what's your shift pattern this week, Nate?
And how much
What's my exact times of work?
No, people are asking these questions. So I thought I'd come on and ask a question.
It's none of their business.
Yeah, but it's rude.
Do you lock your front door, Nathan?
No.
PIN number.
Okay, I can appreciate. PIN number. You can tell me you're on maternity leave and you're looking after your daughter. That's fair enough. I can accept that.
Sorry, I remember you. Okay.
That'd be a lie. Anyway.
But you do spend a lot of time online.
I do.
So I can't believe that it's none of your business. For Tesco.
Hey, so do you. So what else?
I don't think he's ever said he works full time.
And you do too. All y'all stay on here all the time.
No, everyone's questioning everyone. So I'm going to ask the person that's been questioned.
You see, this is
Why is it when you get to give information like that? Don't be silly.
I'm not.
He's on
you do that
He's been around for years. He uses his real name. He's met dozens of people in this community in real life. Right, there's no reason that at all for anyone to be suspicious of him in any way.
Well, we all know that flat earthers are.
Other than that, he's a flat earther.
It's nothing to do with flat earth. It's to do with the principle of the fact that someone can spend so much time online.
I do. You spend a lot of time online.
I expect, because I'm looking after my dad. I've retired from work.
Well, maybe that's the reason, man. So
What's your, you know?
don't worry about it.
Sorry?
All right, it's time to take a nap, man.
What is this? The too much time online
Rather
thing?
than everyone,
Yeah, like we're not all guilty of that.
What's your dad's
I'll
illness?
ask you a simple question.
Can we get back to Michelson-Morley, or is there going to
Do you
be a
work for
lot of
Tesco?
obfuscation going on?
My simple question is to Nathan: do you work for Tesco?
He said yes.
I've
man.
already
Why
answered
asking
you.
that?
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, I've already
And
answered
do
you.
you work
that.
at like a 40-hour week?
No, not at all.
How many hours a week do you work?
20.
Oh my.
None of your damn business.
Yeah.
That's how many hours.
No, this
Well,
is a person.
no,
it's a personal
it's not.
question.
It's not. It's not a legitimate
Everyone
question.
wants to know the answer.
No,
No,
his
they don't.
personal-
Only
hold
you
on.
wanna know
I'm
the
actually
answer.
going to defend Nathan on this one because you know what? His personal life is none of your goddamn business, dude.
He works all day and night. He has to take care of that little baby.
I
all
know
day.
that people that work for Tesco's,
That-
Asda's, the drivers and that, they have to work 40 hours. They have to do 40 hours. If they
All
do,
right.
Good for
Okay,
them.
so that's what you're really here for, right? Yeah.
Okay, the amount of hours and where he works is none of your business. You're going to get the same answer as if you asked me where I
well,
work or
I've
what I
asked the
do.
question.
It is none
Whether
of
you
your
answer it or
business.
not, it's not down to me.
Please stop obfuscating
I like you, Hank.
the show, please.
You
And
are
anyway,
answering
what's it got to do with the
questions,
shape of the Earth?
Yeah, I got 2 jobs.
I like Nathan as well. I like Nathan. But
You should
Yeah,
stop
it
being rude
sounds
then.
I'm
like
a bit worried about all the speculation that's going around on the internet.
Well, you're not worried. You came in here.
Control
And you've been
Works
pretty
for the BBC.
It's hardly surprising that a community of paranoid and mentally ill,
schizophrenic.
and mentally
Don't forget
deficient.
that.
Brenda, that's the most important
Exactly,
thing you've ever
Brenda.
said.
Exactly.
You got to use that word schizophrenic.
Brenda, you better stop talking about the Globers like that. They're going to get really pissed at you.
Well, we're not the ones coming in
I've
there
asked
being
the
rude.
question. If you want to answer, it's up to you. If you don't, it's not a problem. I don't
Well,
mind.
let's move on from that because
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to hear David's response to what I brought up about the maps.
Yeah.
I agree with
there-
Sky.
there's not a public map, man.
Anything but the Michelson-Morley conversation, right?
Hold on, real quick, you guys. It won't take long.
Fucker.
Hey, we won the debate about the
No swearing,
ISS. and y'all
Nathan.
kicked Riley
No
out of
swearing.
here.
Kick yourself.
Kick
And
his
we already
ass.
won the. All right, so
Did you get the right one though?
I don't know, probably not. Are you still here?
You're swearing on live on your show, Nathan.
Both Pures have gone. Sorry. Couldn't risk it. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
Brenda's
Pure
gone.
Anarchy.
Oh man. Not only are you swearing,
So
Nathan,
can I
you're
get a Glober
Skyping on
to
your own
explain the
show.
Michelson-Morley?
I'm gonna be next.
Can I get a Glober to explain the Michelson-Morley experiment and results, or at least the results? And the implications?
I
of
don't
the
know. How much
results?
do you know about it,
I
Hank?
think we all know the explanation, but I think there's multiple interpretations. We just don't agree with their interpretations of it.
I think
Well, there's only
it is
one
about
conclusion.
detecting the movement of the Earth because it's about the relative motion of matter and ether. Is how I understand it. So it is looking at the motion of the Earth, but it's examining
Sorry,
the,
failure.
it's trying to examine the ether, right?
Yeah, it was a test to determine whether or not the ether had any effect on light, because people believed at that time that there was an ether through which light propagated.
I always think the important point with ether, luminiferous ether, we should stress, not just the word ether, because who was it? Was it Anthony was trying to, who was it? Was trying to obfuscate the word the other day.
I didn't snipe Pure Anarchy. A troll Pure Anarchy account joined, and Pure Anarchy accidentally got booted by Nathan, I think, or someone.
Yeah, I booted both of them. I'll just introduce our two new guests. We've been joined by Al, and we've also been joined by Channel Q. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Channel Q, and hello, Al. Good to have you both here.
But I think the important point is the luminiferous ether was an assumption. It was assumed that that was required for the propagation of light.
You got
And then,
right,
and then
correct.
experiments, there was no proof that it existed. It was just an assumption that seemed to work at the time. But when...
And yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No, well, you were talking.
No, to be honest with you, I hadn't really got anything more.
So the failure of the experiment showed that there is no ether.
No, it didn't.
No,
Yes, it did.
It actually did.
There's
It failed.
ground level ozone is what it is.
It failed. It failed.
Ground
And
level
it's been,
ozone.
They already knew the Earth was in
Ozone is
motion. They were trying to find out if the motion through the ether would affect the phase of light. And
Right.
they did it at
Correct.
different points in the year, because that was different points in the orbit of the Earth, in order to see if the
Correct.
different positions would make a difference to how the light traveled. They didn't get any difference, and that told them that there was no change to the light, that light was a constant.
correct. So they had to come up with a different theory because they had at that time the ether theory. So they had to come up with a new one in order to explain their experimental results.
That
That's
was
how
when
science works.
Einstein popped up.
Okay, so if you don't believe in the ether, what are fields made of?
Man,
What
there's
are
as much
fields
pollution there
made
is in the air nowadays. You ain't gonna see nothing. Very
What do you
far.
mean, like fields like of grass?
No, like any type, like maybe an electromagnetic field. What is that made of?
What,
Or-
what did you just say it was called?
Electromagnetic field.
Well,
What
yeah.
do you think it's made out of? If
well,
they call it that.
I think the ether exists. So I think fields are made out of the ether.
No, that's not how they work.
Okay, so what's the field made out of?
I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go.
It doesn't. We don't have to know. We know how it works.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You're saying the ether doesn't exist, but if you say ether doesn't exist, then you can't even tell me what a field is made out of.
Well, a field is a different thing.
What field are you referring to? Because I don't really know what you mean when you say a field.
So there's all types of fields in nature, and that's how the molecules.
So give me the name of a specific one that you're referring to, then I'll have a better
Okay,
idea.
let's go with Einstein's field when he's describing space-time. What's space-time made out of?
Space-time isn't made out of anything.
Well,
So
space-time
what's
is the
bending
definition of gravity, isn't it? The bending of space-time.
Oh, thank you, roboting.
Time.
Still don't really understand how that
What exactly?
used here.
The field is made out of fabric.
No.
So space-time doesn't have a fabric.
This is the absurdity that you go through if you say ether doesn't exist. You can't even describe what a field is.
I can.
Well, you can't describe what a field is. I'm asking you to describe it.
I'm
don't
saying
know.
the field is just a bending of the ether. But you say something is bending. You're saying that a field bends nothing. That makes no sense.
No. A field is a region of space.
Physicist is wrong when they've
A
tested
function.
and not found it.
A field is a function which returns a value at a specific point or coordinate in
Well
space.
read.
Okay, so when a field,
That's the mathematical definition of a field.
Do you agree that okay, I agree. Okay, cool. But so do you agree with me that fields bend?
I don't know what you mean.
So okay, so you can take a magnet, right?
They wave. They wave.
So you can take a magnet and then you can break apart like little mini magnets and you can see a field. You can see the field that the magnet creates. So I'm asking you, if we know fields exist, what are fields made out of?
I don't know.
So, but this is the absurdity you have to go through if you say
absurd.
an ether doesn't exist. You can't
I
even know
don't.
what a field is made
No,
out
it's
of.
not. It's not. It's how science works. I don't know what gravity is made out of. I don't know what it is. That's
Well, it's the
not
bending
how
of
science
space-time,
works.
isn't it?
Science describes how things work. It doesn't always have to. We don't always have to know exactly what something is made out of.
Well,
And
it has to be made
sometimes
out
we
of
just don't know. We just don't know.
Will you agree it has to be made out of something?
I don't know.
So you're telling me nothing can bend and make magnets
I'm
move?
saying that it might not be made out of anything. It might be a consequence of something else.
But it has to be made out of something, though, right?
There's always a negative and positive, man.
If nothing bends, there will be nothing that's creating a
I didn't
force.
say it was made out of nothing.
I think somebody did say it was made out of nothing.
So,
Who
my
said it?
understanding. So I can explain my understanding of the current understanding of the universe is that the universe is filled with these fields. They fill the entire universe.
Right.
Right. And they wave. And there's 4 of them. There's the electromagnetic field,
the weak,
the gravitational field, and the weak and the strong nuclear field.
Right.
Those are the 4 fundamental fields. And they fill the entire universe. And they wave, they jiggle. They're not 2-dimensional, they're 3-dimensional, but they wave and they jiggle. And the jiggling and the waves, they compact up, and those little jiggles are what we call particles.
Right.
You put enough particles together, you get matter.
So what is jiggling?
It moves.
Squiggly wiggly.
The value changes at a particular place or time.
So you gave me 4.
It's always jiggling. I don't know what these fields are made of. I don't know.
So yeah, so that's basically my point. Anytime.
Well, maybe there's I'm just a layperson. Maybe there's a professional physicist who can explain it to you. You could look for that.
No,
but I don't know.
I don't know. I even asked my
tell us how you know the fields. Tell us how you know the fields are made of ether then.
What?
How do you know the fields are made of ether?
It's the only possible explanation. It has to be made of something.
Well, why can't it be, they're made of some unknown substance that, we haven't yet discovered?
Because at the end of the day, it's basically a fundamental unit that's bending. The fundamental unit is what we call the ether.
Why is that?
So if you want to say that it's from some unidentified force, it would still be part of the fundamental force.
We know what light is. We know what light is. We don't know what light is.
Yeah, we do. What light is. So,
yes, we do.
Okay, how can light be? Okay. So
light is an excitation of the electromagnetic field.
Okay, let me ask you this: do square circles? Do we know what a square circle is?
Square circles are not possible.
Well, that's what they say light is. They say light is a particle and a wave at the same time.
That's wrong.
No, that's what they say it is. You can Google
you're misinformed. You're misinformed.
Okay.
Light is a wave.
In a particle at the same time.
No, it is not. It is a wave.
Power, man.
No,
no. I know that you've been taught wrong, but that's because science changes over time. They get better and better. And the current understanding is quantum field theory. And in quantum field theory, the electromagnetic field excitations in that field are what we call light.
Okay, well, if you can provide a link, I'll look over it. But
I can do that.
I would love to look over it.
Give me a minute. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to go and get you a link to a lecture that will explain it to you.
Thank you.
Do you weigh the same as a duck?
What's with the which reference? I don't get it, PMARS. Are we ducking somebody?
Yeah, I'm confused.
I don't think PMARS is intending on being coherent. I think it was deliberately a random statement.
Good one. So part-time, you're about to get this epic link or whatever. You're going to read it?
Yeah, I'm looking over
so
it.
I'm going to put it in here.
Get ready.
Is that the correct place to put it? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you make the leap from the idea that something can generate a field itself in the first place, but must have something else to travel?
It's energy, man. It's all it is. It's power.
It's, energy, electrons, whatever, depending on what you're talking about. The point is, you get different types of energy, whatever. How do you make the leap from whatever type of field you're talking about, requiring another type of field to travel through?
It's the resonance of the energy, man. Just like a guitar, you got the resonance of the guitar. It would be the same thing.
So
who's the energy man?
You're talking about sound vibration.
It's all energy.
But it's like compression waves through air, and that's where the ether theory comes from in the first place, is because they assumed that light worked the same way, which is why they did tests like Michelson-Morley, and nothing ever proved that the ether existed. So that's why they moved on.
It doesn't work. It's much more complicated. Right. So that is a lecture from the Royal Institute by David Tong, who goes through the current state of the art knowledge on how the universe, what the universe is made of. I don't recall any place in that video him explaining what fields are, so I don't know because I'm not a physicist. He simply says that there are 4 fields, and that's what the universe is composed of, and they fill the entire universe. And excitations of the field are what are called particles. We are excitations of the 4 fundamental fields. That's what particles are, and that's what we are.
Right. So even if light is a wave, and since I haven't researched it, because you're providing me new information, I'll just grant you that point. Let's say light is a wave.
Right. So what we call the particle theory, but it does fit with previous understanding. So when a certain local, you give a local excitation in the electromagnetic field, you get a photon, and it behaves like a particle. It's just that with a deeper understanding, we came to understand that it's really a wave. It's sort of a wave packet, as they say. And so this resolves a lot of what a lot of contradictions that you have heard before. They get resolved in this understanding of the way of a photon as a narrow packet of waves. And basically, these fields are waving. They're varying in their value up and down. They always show it as a line, but of course, it's not a line. It's a 3-dimensional substance, and I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is, so I don't know. You have to get somebody smarter than me.
Okay, so, but my point is that even if light is a wave, waves have to have something to propagate through, and that's why we
not light.
Not
light.
Light doesn't need a medium. It has its own medium.
Disagree with you.
Said this to you a minute ago.
Well, here's the thing. Well, you can only make that objection due to your understanding of what light is, because if you guys have a, you can only make that objection.
That is the same for everybody here.
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying.
Nobody's working in a lab, so using this as an objection is just ridiculous. We're all working off, we're all laymen, and we're all working off whatever understanding we have, and none of us get understanding through our own means. We have to find it out.
Can I explain this?
Third-party information.
Everybody can look up the quantum eraser and the double slit experiment, and what this says, this is real science, experimental science, is that the knower of the witch path information collapses the wave function. Right? So light is a wave until there's a knower.
That's partly true and partly wrong. You don't need a
knower being human.
Your audio roboted. You were partly correct in that light propagates through the double slit as a wave. But you're not correct when you say you have to have a knower. You do not. All you need is a detector. All you need is interaction. As soon as the electromagnetic wave interacts with something, then the wave function collapses. That's called decoherence. And you do not need a conscious mind.
So does the detector know?
I didn't get any of that.
No, neither did I.
I think he said, does the detector know?
No, the detector doesn't need to know. It simply interacts with the photon.
Well, let me just ask a question in relation to that double slit experiment.
Causes the wave function to collapse, and that's called decoherence.
Let me ask everybody on the panel, with regards to the double slit experiment, do we all have the same understanding of what the double slit experiment is? The way I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the light waves will travel through the double slit. When nobody's observing it, it will create a particular pattern. But when there's a viewer there watching it, it creates a different pattern, and it therefore means that the light is subject to being observed, and it'll change its stance when it is observed. Is that the position that everybody understands it to be?
Yeah, that's incorrect.
That's what I understand.
That's incorrect.
I mean, it's not that bad off.
Jeremy?
Please look up the results of the quantum eraser.
Why don't you tell us all about the quantum eraser now, Hank?
Statement, because you're constantly sitting there with a computer and you can Google everything, and I'm at work and you know that I don't have a computer in front of me, and you know that I'm slinging pizzas. So
I think that
that's not very nice, Brenda.
None of us really know about.
Yeah,
I do know about it, but I don't want to quote something incorrect. That's why I asked one of you gentlemen if you could please pull it up for me.
I don't see what quantum eraser has to do with flat Earth. For one thing.
Well, if you want me to argue about flat water, we can switch up and I can do that. Would you like that? That make you happy?
Probably.
Because we were talking about.
It's up to everybody in the room, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not great on this stuff. I know about the double slit experiment. I don't know loads about it. I don't know whether Anthony's. I'll have to read it again before I decide if Anthony's description is correct.
I'm betting 5 out of 10 of you guys have computers. Betting 5 out of 10 of you guys.
Pattern, but I think they've managed to do it with a single photon, and they still get the same interference pattern. So they've had all these crazy theories about the observer and stuff like that, but.
Well, wouldn't
yeah, I've seen it linked to proof of God. I can't remember how they got there, but
wouldn't it be logical to think that if your eyes were influencing the results, that your eyes are in some way an electromagnetic signal receiver? No, it interferes.
Your eyes are no influencing anything.
So none of you guys can read the results for the quantum eraser experiment for me? I say please.
Oh, I'll look it up to remind.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Can I just check we've got the real event skeptic joining us?
Oh, everything that happens, the thing gets sniped.
Sorry, bear with me, Al. Event skeptic, can you say hello?
We already lost Brenda, didn't we? I think.
Event skeptic's getting booted. Sorry guys, you carry on. I've just boosted event skeptic. If you do want to join, you've got to say hello immediately.
Hello.
Can everyone please take note that I didn't invoke God or anything? I was talking about a scientific experiment and the results.
I wasn't suggesting you did. I was just saying that I've heard it used in that way in the past.
That is correct. People have done it in the past. I just didn't want that to be misunderstood that I was doing it, because that's not how I roll. We're talking about science.
Do we get rid of the sniper? Because Q got sniped, Brenda got sniped.
And that's a damn shame. We're talking about, scientific experiments, and we got, people that have basically the IQ of a kindergartner. I disagree with him. I'm going to snipe him now. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we've been joined by Curved Water and who was the other one? Nick. How you doing, Nick? And Truth Seeker. So for start with Curved, how you doing, Curved?
Oh, maybe Nick can say he was reading it from a bloody wiki page or something.
How you doing, Curved?
Nick's probably good on the double slit.
Yeah, I have my notes on it right here in front of me.
It was the quantum eraser.
I've never heard of the quantum eraser, to be honest. But I do have good notes on the double slit experiment if you want to talk.
I'd love to hear about that.
Well,
educate me.
I'll share my screen.
Smash it.
Indoctrinate us.
Yeah, whatever.
Indoctrinate us, Nick. Go on.
So, yeah, these. If you click on my icon, you can probably see them. These are my own notes that I took a few weeks ago. Basically, the idea is that when you measure a system, its state changes, and as Brenda was saying, the state of a system is basically kind of described as its wave function. So when you take a measurement, its wave function collapses, and it suddenly has a well-defined position. So yeah, basically the idea is if you don't measure the wave function, it'll form this certain pattern. But if you do measure it, because you're physically taking a photon from the system and measuring it, that affects its the properties of it. It means that instead of forming this interference pattern here, it will just be at one well-defined point on the screen. It's basically no measurement, it'll form this interference pattern here. If you do take a measurement, it will be at the given position in the center of the screen. It's a very counterintuitive kind of thing. That's the whole idea of quantum mechanics. Things behave very strangely on a tiny scale.
So is that the quantum eraser or the double slit?
Double slit.
Oh, I was asking for the quantum eraser.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that, but Jeremy asked about the double slit, so I just gave a brief summary of it.
Quantum eraser, having a quick glance at it just now, it's to do with entangled photons. So it's the double slit experiment, but a kind of slight variation on it.
Right, they
quite a lot
altered it a little bit to prove what I was saying about the knower of the witch path information. Right.
Let's see. After two entangled photons are created, each is directed into its own section of the apparatus. Anything done to learn the path of the entangled partner of the photon being examined in the double slit part of the apparatus will influence the second photon and vice versa.
Wow. That's cool.
Okay, so what we learned today is light can travel through a vacuum. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a vacuum. So I wanted to point out, you know, that
none of
there's
it means the Earth's
all
flat.
kinds
That's
of
the
stuff
most
in
important
space.
Well, the thing with all this and you know, the questions about light is, where does this come back to the shape of the Earth?
It proves that mainstream science has been hidden from us.
They were talking about the ether, and then it went on to about light and stuff. So.
It's because they're trying to think we live in a simulation over here. That's that damn simulation talk.
I think the idea is to try and discredit mainstream science in some way, to say it's making assumptions.
It's again,
and it's ignoring, it's dogmatic, etc.
I mean, if you can't figure out the shape of the Earth and do this basic physical observations, why do you think you can go to advanced physics?
Oh, exactly.
Well, then where are the curve? Where's the curve? If we can do simple, basic observations,
Showed you the curve so many times.
Well, I was trying to clear up the thing about light being a particle and a wave, and those are the science experiments that talk about light being a particle and a wave, not at the same time. So
it's
I was just trying to educate people. Sorry, it didn't have anything to do with the shape of the Earth. I'm sure everybody will be okay. Hank took up like 10 minutes of everybody's time to teach people something who didn't know about this.
I think it was worth doing.
Thanks for the people.
I'm grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So now everybody knows that light is a particle and not a wave, and also it's a wave and not a particle. It's not a wave and a particle at the same time.
Yeah, it's pretty strange stuff, actually. The last little bit I read in it a while back, they don't really refer to it as particles and waves. They refer to it as quanta.
Yeah, quanta is just the idea of these particles. They have a specific quantity of energy in them. That's literally where the whole of quantum mechanics, anything that says quantum, is literally just a well-defined amount of energy in the form of a photon. So they're generally considered as particles, but they're actually just kind of packets of energy.
Right.
Right. Quanta is the root word is, you know, quantum. I forgot. Shit. Pardon me. Darn.
It means airline in Australian.
Quantity is the root word, right? So quantity of particles. Or like you said, energy.
Quantity of energy, yeah.
I reserve my judgment on this until I look at the video he sent me, but if you just look on Wikipedia, it describes a photon as wave-particle duality. So
if you look on Wikipedia, what's the shape of the Earth? What does it say?
Right, but I'm not talking about.
I just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying what Wikipedia says.
On Wikipedia, it does say the shape of the Earth is a ball, but it also does say last edited by PMARS 45 minutes ago.
Wow.
Yeah, but it says it's a ball.
Oh, they got sniped for a second. I was like, oh no.
Truth seekers in the house.
Speaking of people fudging information, can we talk about the nonsense you were spewing earlier, Anthony, about Soundly's video?
The nonsense I was spewing? What do you mean?
I think it's the most objective.
Juicy.
Yeah, I took a look at that video, Anthony. I have to say, I mean, did you select a specific frame or something there?
Oh no, Nathan, can you share my screen and let's do this now?
Oh, sorry,
I've got
I need to
3
stop. I need to interrupt this here because that isn't even the point, Jerm. The point
Go ahead.
of the video itself isn't Soundly's experiment and its results. It's a time lapse of the setup of the experiment.
Right.
It's not his results.
I was
There's enough information in there to show us the
results. I went to Soundly's
results.
channel to have a look, and I thought, well, this is just a time lapse. There's obviously more to come on this.
If anybody is even silly enough to believe that Soundly would spend months arranging to meet up with Jesse Kozlowski, to meet the bayou, and then just do a time lapse of them shooting out back and forward on a boat.
Right, a 4-minute
an elevation, and produce a video that's fuzzy at the end, with no measurements from Jesse in it as well. It's just insanely.
I don't understand what your problem is though, because there's enough information in the time lapse video for you to make a reasonable assertion of what is going on.
It's a time lapse video. It's an overview of their setup. It isn't the actual test itself. The test itself will be him down nearer the waterline taking photographs across the water.
Yeah, but do you understand that if the 8 mile observation point is 36 feet below the start point and you're able to draw a straight line between all of them, it means that there's no drop.
That was just a camera placed up on a hill to get an overview of the area while they moved about during the day, setting up for the experiment.
Yeah, so what is it you're trying to say? Are you trying to say that in some way that the results don't make any sense because they're not clear? Is that what your argument, your position is?
No. I'm saying that what you're looking at through that camera has got nothing to do with the actual experiment. It's just an overview of the area.
But you do understand
the experiment is he sets up the lights and then he goes down a couple of feet above the water and takes a view straight across the water.
You do understand though that he's got the measured distance between all the lights at 5 feet above the water on every single light.
From the wrong elevation point downwards towards the light at an angle, you think that's a relevant way to get that measurement?
Absolutely. When you've got a measured, you've got a new frame of reference now.
Across the water, you're going to go up above the water and look down at it.
So hang on, you tell me why you don't think it is then.
What do you mean why I don't think it is? Because it's clearly stated.
So that makes it null and void. Right, let's look at the facts.
He's put up a video that's just a time lapse of them setting up.
Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the facts. He's got a measured
during the video, he points out that they were setting up for however many hours, and that during the time that they were setting up, the temperature raised and lowered because they went through the day and into the night, and how much the refraction raised, and then it was all settled down when the temperatures evened out between the water and the air.
Yeah.
It's just like you jumped the gun, Anthony.
Well, the problem I have is that you're in some way inferring that we're not able to deduce with logic and reason, based on the evidence, the conclusion point, which is essentially, if he has measured points on the stanchions that he's got lights on, that effectively becomes the
experiment. It's not the results from the experiment.
Wait. You keep talking over him. Just let him get to the end of his sentence and then...
Well, he has a new frame of reference that we're able to put a straight line right the way through, and it's straight as a die. So I don't understand how there can be any conjecture over that.
Anything like straight as a die. That's a lie.
Okay, so Nathan, would you share my Skype screen?
And I looked very carefully at that hangout earlier and your line across it, and it is not straight as a die.
Right, Nath. Oops.
The point is, even if it was straight, it's the completely wrong observation. You've just picked a frame out of a video that isn't from the actual observation point.
Right.
Right, but I've got now three.
It's on a hill. He actually shows you where he put the camera.
Wait, am I presenting now, Nathan?
Yeah.
No.
Why are you doing this to yourself, Riley? Why?
I know. It's
You're
crazy.
trying to get that award, man. Come on.
I think he is.
I think you are.
Right. Am I going to be able to speak, or am I not going to be able to speak?
No, you speak. Speak away.
Here is the best one that I found that was lined up straight.
You're not screen sharing on Skype, Anthony.
Oh my God. It doesn't matter whether it's the best one you found. It's the best one you found.
Yes, it does. It matters a lot. Wait, let me present, and then you can tell me where I'm going wrong. Hang on,
That's
let
like
me work
saying
out.
somebody could have walked across the bridge and taken a photograph of Soundly and Jesse down in the basin, and you're taking their photograph to test whether they go. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. The photograph is taken from a vantage point.
Do you understand
that gives
context?
you an overview of where they're performing the experiment. It is not the actual point of observation.
Dude, do you understand context? Let me show what I'm going to
Obviously, I
say
do,
in
and you don't.
context, then you can respond. Right, this is one of the ones that was kind of in the middle, okay? This is one of the ones that would be argued by flat earthers to be flat as a pancake, okay? Then I tried to find one that was supporting the ball earth argument. This is the one with the most deviation I found. And then I found one that was going the opposite way. And this is a problem because the standard refraction calculators by Metabunk do not allow for the refraction to go up.
None of them are.
What the fuck?
What's happened?
Alright, I just accidentally pressed the button I shouldn't have.
Are we still on?
Oh, he's back.
Oh,
If you want to talk
It's
about
returned.
looking for relevant frames, if you go to the end of that video, Soundly was very nice to put in a little teaser picture of other observations he's done over Pontchartrain, and he's got the skyline from New Orleans across Lake Pontchartrain, and it's half buried below the level of the water. I think it's the Marriott Hotel. You can only see half of it.
Here's the thing. There's two problems with the... I don't know how much you saw then, because I think Nathan kicked himself out by accident. But there's one that's flat. There's one that's bending down, supporting curvature. And there's one that's bending up, right? The problem is, at no point does the standard refraction calculator on the Metabunk website suggest that the mask is anything other than 7/6 of the radius of the Earth. That is a continuous downward calculation.
Anthony, you really don't want to go down the line of talking about your bizarre interpretations of Metabunk because you're completely wrong in that anyway.
Right. So should we go through the Metabunk interpretations?
Nothing to do with what we're talking about.
And the three lines that you've just showed us, where you showed us one that bent up, one that bent down, and hold on. You showed us one that bent up.
Let's deal with the allegation.
One that bent. Can I talk?
Let's deal with the allegation. My bizarre interpretations of the Metabunk site. Just let's
let's
stand by
not
that.
deal with that allegation yet. Let's deal with this first. You showed us. You just showed us what you described as a line that shows
Jeremy
bending up, a line that shows bending down, and a line that's straight. And about 3 minutes ago, you told us the line was straight as a die.
Jeremy.
So you're lying, Anthony.
No, Jeremy. I'm dealing with the evidence.
But why did you say it's straight as a die?
Jeremy, shut up a minute. There's been a swerve ball, and we're addressing the swerve ball.
One at a time, gentlemen.
Jeremy, shush a minute. There's been a swerve ball.
Before you try and deviate away from the point that's actually being made,
I'm addressing your criticism that I've got some kind of bizarre interpretation of this refraction thing. So let's deal with that, okay? You just said I've got a bizarre interpretation. Do we agree that 7/6 of the radius of the Earth is an arc? Yes or no?
What?
You've just asserted that I've got some bizarre interpretation of the standard refraction on the Metabunk website.
That's
let's
right,
address
because you keep going on about this standard atmosphere part of it.
Right. So do we agree that according to the maths that this is cited based on here is based on arc mathematics, 7/6 of the radius of the Earth? Is that an arc calculation or not?
Depends how you interpret it, actually.
Can you show me anything other than it being an arc calculation? 7/6 of the radius. The key bit is the radius.
Semantical.
The point is, it's application of maths.
You have determined that this is invalid due to its association with the standard refraction. Don't try and do half
that's
the
not what it says.
Okay?
Read what it says.
If you want to try and argue your point, make the whole point. Do what you usually do. Open up the Wikipedia
I'm taking you through it point by point because you've made an
and then
assertion
start
that I am in some way ridiculous.
Verbatim and show that you don't actually understand what it is you're reading.
Al, you just ranting.
Tell us why the standard atmosphere is a problem, Anthony.
You're just talking over as a point.
I'm going to show you how it's contradictory, but you need to shush so I can get my point across and just answer with closed answers, yes or no.
I just want to make sure that you actually do what I'm asking you to do.
You need to shut your mouth.
I'm trying to,
which is divergent.
Al, I'm trying to stay on topic. Do we agree that this is calculation based on arc mathematics? It's based around the radius.
What it's doing is increasing the radius of the Earth. Okay.
So it is an arc calculation. We agree, right? Yeah.
If
we
that's the
agree
way
it's
you
an
want
art
to term it,
calculation.
yeah.
However, it says underneath that standard refraction is an approximation of the refraction expected under these conditions. So bear in mind, we've just been looking at the radius. In this thing that it says that it's based on, the International Standard Atmosphere is an atmospheric model of how pressure, temperature, density, and viscosity of the Earth's atmosphere change over a wide range of altitudes or elevations. Nowhere in that description does it mention the radius of the Earth. Agreed?
Why would it?
I agree, and you just did exactly what I told you. You know, this is what you always do. You read it out, but you don't demonstrate why there's any problem with it.
I'm doing it
You
right now
explain to
because
me
the calculation,
what the actual problem is.
The calculation that he cited is based on the radius. However, he claims it's based on the refraction expected under this, which it's clearly not. Under this, it's based on four
You haven't
things.
demonstrated why it's not. Explain what the problem is, Anthony. Don't just read out the
missed it
words.
because you're not listening. There's a radius calculation in the maths that doesn't appear in what it claims it's based on. What it's based on is the pressure, the temperature, the density, and the viscosity.
Oh, you really don't get this.
No, you
that
don't.
article that you're going to is
see
not
this,
about
but you-
refraction. There's not going to be any calculations in there about refraction. 7.6 radius. It's not going to be there. That is
So can you
about
see, Al,
atmosphere.
there is no radius in the maths. Do you agree?
And it's talking about what the
Anthony, it
standard
doesn't have to be.
Of
Now, I
course
said
it does,
this to
'cause
you
he's basing
months
it on-
ago that you
he's
got it
basing it
wrong,
on this.
and that you were trying to compare what you called a linear equation to a curve equation,
I
which
didn't
shows that
call
you
it a
didn't have
linear.
a clue what you were talking about.
No,
And
I
that
didn't.
if
You
you were so
misrepresented
sure that
me
you were
again.
right, you could have done your own maths for refraction, and your response was to block me. So now's your chance, Anthony.
because you misrepresented
Show
me.
us
and
what
we're
it
talking
should
Gish
say.
Gallop. Stay on topic. Let's deal with it.
I am staying on topic. You on topic.
You've agreed that it's a radius. It's a radius calculation. However, under this,
Everybody
it's completely
understands
not.
that the refraction is dealt with by assuming a slightly larger radius of the Earth. Okay,
it's not.
The problem
It's
comes in
supposed to-
when you start talking about the standard atmosphere being a problem for the calculation. So you explain to us why it's a problem.
Because the calculation's based on the radius. However, when you look into what it's supposed to be based on, it's supposed to be based on pressure, temperature, density, and viscosity, not radius. Don't you see the contradiction?
No, there isn't a contradiction, Anthony. You just don't understand what the purpose is of the standard atmosphere.
And you're
in the
blinded
equation.
by baffle. You're ignorant. You're simply ignorant.
No, I'm not ignorant. You're just reading a Wikipedia page and you don't have a damn clue what it is you're reading. It's that simple.
Oh, so this is now an
And if you
argument
can
from
keep
my own ignorance,
insisting
is it?
to everybody on the internet that you know, do it now, Anthony. Explain why.
Because there's no mention of radius in the values that it calculates
have
for.
to be,
Don't you
Anthony.
understand that, you dumb piece of dog dirt?
Oh,
You do not have to have
seriously.
anything to
It's
do
black
with
and
radius
white.
and standard atmosphere.
Al,
Standard
it's black
atmosphere
and white.
is a
There is
mean
no mention
value
of radius in
for
here.
the atmosphere, you pillock.
Dude, there's no radius calculation. There's 4 variables.
There doesn't
2 of them
have
are
to be.
continuous. Dude, 2 of them are
It is a
continuous
mean
variable.
value for every layer
Al,
of the
you're being-
atmosphere. It's
you're
an
being-
averaged
you're being
out
dense.
value.
Al, you're being dense.
Depends on what's in the air, huh?
Oh my God! You just
If you can't see it, Al, if
understand
you
what it
can't
is
see
you're
the
looking at
blatant
at all.
contradiction in the
It's just Anthony's
mathematics,
trying
then
to
you will
make
never
another
understand what
semantic
being
argument.
dishonest actually is. Because this is dishonesty.
Anthony, does the Earth have an atmosphere?
It's actually willfully.
Yeah, you're standing on the ozone part of it. So what do you say about
Let's
that?
break it down for you, Anthony. Does the Earth have an atmosphere?
Of course, it has an
Al's
atmosphere.
being willfully
Yes.
ignorant.
And are there several layers to the atmosphere?
Yes, that's what this is describing.
Yes. Okay.
And
Can
do we
you
agree that the
explain to
4
me-
variables?
Explain to me any direction a person on the Earth can look without looking through every layer of the atmosphere.
Right, that's a distraction from the point at hand.
It's
It's
not
irrelevant.
distraction.
Al, let me put it back to you in a different way. How does this radius calculation
answer the
support?
question.
No, it's irrelevant. It's a distraction.
Answer the question,
It's a complete
Anthony.
distraction.
It's irrelevant.
No, I'm
You're
not.
being
It's a
willfully
distraction.
It isn't irrelevant, and I can guarantee that everybody else in the panel knows that it's not irrelevant. The only people that are
Dude,
concerned about it being irrelevant is Anthony because he's trying to get out of the problem. that
I
he's-
know Al is being
You're
willfully
taking
ignorant.
distraction.
You're a moron.
It's got nothing to do with it.
Riley, what point are you trying to make? Just go ahead and say it. They get you off. Go ahead and say it.
Go on,
The standard
Dave. What do you reckon the
refraction that
score is
Michael
right
calculates
now?
for in this calculation here is based
Because
on
he's
the
breaking
radius
down
of
over
the
there.
Earth
Tell him
and
what you tell him
7/6
how
of
it
it.
works, Riley. Go
Answer
ahead.
the question.
Yeah, on the ropes, right?
Answer the question.
No.
Tell
You're
me a direction
creating
that
a
a human
distraction
observer
to
on the
avoid the
Earth
fact
can
that you're
look
cornered.
without
The maths
looking through
calculates for a
everywhere
radius. Can you see
atmosphere,
this?
Anthony?
Can you see this, Al? Do you understand what this is?
Answer the question, Anthony, and stop trying to
No,
avoid.
no, Al. I'm not answering the question. It's a distraction
Well,
because
why
you
you're not
can't get
answering it?
around
'Cause
the
you don't
fact that
have
it's
a
got
clue.
nothing to do
It
with it.
depends on which way you're looking, man.
You know you've screwed up,
you
and
know,
you're doing what you always do and avoiding it.
No, Al, you're being dishonest.
Al is being willfully ignorant. Anthony is not being ignorant.
I think the only way you
No,
see
you're being dishonest, Al. It's got nothing to do with it.
Well, that doesn't. Well, you know, you might not know that. This might be something that you don't know
Okay,
about. Where
all right.
it does have
Well,
something to do with it.
We're going to come back to my point because he's cornered and he's distracting. So I'll
No,
answer
it's
the
not.
question provided
Your
I
point
can
is
straight
ridiculous.
answer.
Your point is based on the words in 2 paragraphs, not
No,
agreeing with each
it's
other.
based on your science, boys. It's
Two
based on your
paragraphs are-
science.
are almost about 2 different things. You know, they just are, Anthony.
No.
It's actually, you know, your argument once again is down to the wording of something.
That's because it's
You know,
called
you're
science,
trying to
dude.
redefine what
You
a
can't,
word
you
is.
can't change the meaning of words.
And
If
you've
it
had a
says
go at
radius, it
refraction.
means radius. It doesn't mean pressure.
now you-
Anthony has decided to cherry pick an image out of Soundly's video, which is not his experiment.
Right.
No,
Photograph
I've picked
taken
3
from
pictures.
a
I've gone
vantage
for
point
one that
of the
supports flat
experiment.
Earth, one that goes against flat Earth, and one that supports curved Earth. What's your problem?
Hey, can I ask a question really quickly? Anthony,
No.
why are you looking for 7/6 radius to be
Because this-
specified in a wiki page on International Standard Atmosphere?
Right.
Because the MIC-West calculation claims that it's based on it here, and it's clearly and demonstrably and evidently not.
Oh, no, that means you
Yes,
clearly and
yes.
demonstrably don't understand what you're looking at.
No,
means
it means
actually
you are
Anthony can think
deliberately being
independently for himself.
obstructive and you are dishonest. It's black
what are you
and
talking about
white.
that standard refraction, Riley? To explain it.
Say that again, David.
Explain what you think that standard refraction is meaning.
The standard refraction, which is this paragraph here, is an approximation of the refraction expected under standard atmospheric conditions. However, note that this says radius in here. This is a calculation based on 7/6 of the radius. That is an arc. When you go into the standard atmospheric conditions, it clearly says that it's based on pressure, temperature, density, viscosity. Nothing to do with radius.
Right, because this isn't a curve calculator, is it? This is a Wikipedia page about the standard atmosphere.
Yes,
right?
and how is it not relevant?
Curve calculator is about taking
We're not talking about the curve
that
calculator.
value of
No, we're not
standard
talking about the
atmosphere.
curve calculator.
Let me
Jeremy,
finish.
stop misrepresenting me to try and make me look stupid. We're only talking about the
I'm not-
standard
You do that.
refraction part of the
I
curve
haven't
calculator.
misrepresent. I'm trying to
You are.
explain what these. I'm not gonna bother. I'm just if you're gonna
No,
keep interrupting.
because you're cornered and you can't. So, Al, back to you. Is there anywhere
Right.
in the
No, I will
standard
answer now,
refraction-
please. I will answer because you continue to interrupt me. This
Because
is
you're
a
talking
Wikipedia
gish gallop
page.
rubbish.
You're interrupting me again. Shut up. This is a Wikipedia page about International Standard Atmosphere. The other page is an Earth curve calculator. It takes values from International Standard Atmosphere and uses them to produce values that calculate what we would expect to see over the Earth's curve.
But it bases it on a radius.
Let me finish.
What's the PSI on the ground for atmosphere?
The standard atmosphere calculation hasn't got anything
Yes,
to
I got
do with
it.
the Earth's curve. It isn't trying to tell us that information, and
Yes, it
therefore,
is.
obviously, it doesn't need to include it. It's nothing to do with it.
Don't be
Anyone-
ridiculous.
The point
Don't
is simple,
be
right?
ridiculous.
Refraction is to do with temperature and pressure. The international standard atmosphere is to do with temperature and pressure.
That's what it
Because
says.
refraction
Like
comes from
pressure
the
and
sun,
temperature,
man.
Density,
Refraction would only come from the sun. If it's dark outside, there's no
Wait, stop.
refraction.
We've just made progress.
It's expressed in that as the
Al has just
term
made
on
progress,
that
guys.
page, because that's how we need it on that page.
Al's just made progress.
Is there any refraction
just-
in that?
Yes.
Al has just made progress, guys. He's now just accepted that pressure and temperature are key factors in the actual refraction point. Do we agree that density and viscosity of the air is also? Because if you do agree with
Riley,
this,
you don't understand anything on that
been the
page that
point
you're
all
reading.
along, you clown.
You're making a fool of yourself. Keep it up.
So we're back to the same point then. We're back to the other two values, which are continuous variables, the vertical pressure variation and the ideal gas law. They're both continuous variables and need require constant recalculation to give us the standard refraction effects. However, in context, even if I decide to disagree, let you have the point just so we can move on, which I'm not doing, but if I did do that, we can take it a step further and we can put it into context. And let me get the citation. Bear with me while I get it. I'll pull it on screen so you can see what I'm doing. Mix cited right
It's going to
here.
be another semantic argument, isn't it?
No, this is called application of science, boys and girls. It's not semantics.
That doesn't agree with this set of words over there. Therefore, all of science is wrong.
That's because it's contradictory, Jeremy.
I've managed to find one paragraph somewhere on the internet somewhere that says one thing, and then I've managed to find another paragraph somewhere else that says something very slightly different. Therefore, all of physics is wrong.
So bear in mind that this is from Michael West himself.
Why are you trying to Google and argue with people?
I'm not Googling. Hang on. I'm not Googling. Listen, this is from Michael West himself. And he says he strongly recommends this paper for understanding the effects of refraction in a detailed level, right? And it's a proper paper that you guys all worship, peer-reviewed, etc. And then when you go into the article, it says this. Sorry.
What are you going to cherry pick from this, Riley?
Riley, real quick, tell me what your definition of refraction is.
Under standard circumstances, the effects are negligible. And then when you look up the word negligible, this is what it tells you. So small or unimportant as not to be worth considering or insignificant.
The word negligible.
And it's quoted underneath that he said the refraction was negligible.
And the fact that it exists. And
would you say that half a degree is negligible?
The optics of the situation.
It's not worth considering.
Everybody knows it. Everybody's seen it.
Refraction, the argument itself is not worth considering.
You're sharing videos showing it happening, so you can't pretend that it doesn't have an effect.
Worth calculating for.
Ridiculous.
How about some context, Riley? Why don't you read some of the previous in the paper? Why don't you do that? Why do you always go to that point and cherry
anyway,
pick
your views aren't important anymore. You've shown your true colours. So back
would
to
you say that half a degree difference is negligible, Anthony?
Say that again, Jeremy.
Would you say that half a degree difference?
It's not worth calculating for. That's what I say. Because that's what it tells me.
What is the context that they're using that in?
So we can delete all of this because it's not worth calculating for.
What are they about in that paper? In that section of the paper, what are they discussing?
I'm not talking to you, Curved. I'm talking to Al.
I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm ignoring you, Al. So do you understand now why there's a problem with refraction?
What is the point of going to a peer-reviewed paper to look at one word just so we can get a dictionary definition of it, even though we all know
you
the
said
bloody
I had
word
some obscure interpretation, and I've just shown you how it's not obscure.
How willfully ignorant can you be, Al?
Hey, Riley, how's your track record in court with the dictionary?
Only because it proves all over your perception of what refraction is, Al. You can't hack it. You were wrong.
You don't seem to do very well with the dictionary.
Proving anything apart from the fact that you're absolutely.
Riley, what does this prove? What does this say?
It proves the majority of this panel is willfully ignorant. And
no, Riley, what is it? What all is all this? What does this prove?
Is willfully ignorant.
David,
let Riley say. What does this prove, Riley?
David, the answer to your question, David, the answer to your question, what does it prove? It proves that refraction.
It proves that everybody.
No, let me answer.
Let Riley say it.
He's asking me, so let me answer. It proves that Michael calculating for standard refraction on the basis of a radius is completely erroneous, and it's wrong. It's misleading people. It's so negligible it shouldn't even be calculated for. It can be deleted completely. That's what it proves.
Refraction is negligible.
You talk about the radius of the Earth, right?
But refraction is negligible because it only ever accounts for like a half a degree adjustment, no more than half a degree adjustment in the curvature. So
it's always conveniently argued to be making why the Earth appears to be flat when it suits. But when I present evidence of curvature, you never consider it to be refraction. You just go, oh yeah, it's curvature, man, it's curvature.
Tell us how refraction causes curvature, Anthony.
Yeah,
not talking to you, Curved. So again, in the context of this photo,
how does refraction cause curvature, Anthony?
This is the worst photo I found that went against
you got to answer that, man, because you made a big point of it.
It would be actually really interesting to hear how refraction is supposed to work on a flat Earth.
Nah, forget it. Let Hank talk. Let Anthony just cower.
I can demonstrate it. I can demonstrate how it works on a flat Earth. Bear with me.
How do you reckon this is going, Dave? I think honestly, it's not looking good, man.
He's on. He's got it going on here. Go, let him go ahead.
Progress.
This is refraction on the flat Earth. We see. Imagine that the mountain in the background and the land in the foreground.
Well done. That's the exact video I just spoke about a minute ago.
All we're going to see is continuous variation on the vertical aspect, which is what we're talking about. On the dense gas mole, the dense.
Are you saying that there's actually some changes throughout the day with refraction in this video?
Yeah, but
is that
right? Absolutely. But guess what's not happening in the video? The mountain in the background isn't dropping behind the curve of the Earth and being brought back into sight the way you guys claim it does.
The background, which you make a big deal about, but the effects are negligible.
Yeah,
doesn't quite match
listen,
up with me.
Is the mountain in the background dropping behind the curve of the Earth and then coming back up, dropping behind the curve of the Earth and coming back up, or is it simply being stretched on the horizon, consistent with exactly what that variation on the vertical?
How's it a knockout? That was a question.
Because you guys don't know what refraction is, and you think it makes things come from behind the curve of the Earth, and it doesn't.
You can clearly see a mountain disappearing and coming back, but you're trying to argue the point that refraction is negligible. You can't have it both ways.
All that's happening here is the mountain is doing exactly the same as the peninsula in the foreground. It's stretching and shrinking, stretching and shrinking. It is not falling behind the curve of the Earth. Don't be obtuse.
Can I speak now? I've been waiting for like 30 minutes.
The water's swelling and going back down too.
At least 20. So I'm going to go ahead and talk now, if everybody don't mind. Please don't interrupt. At first, I didn't know what Anthony was talking about, so I was trying to listen and take it all in. And I spoke to a very intelligent guy the other night off air after show was over, and he told me that atmospheric refraction is like 0.00 something, and it was like less than 0.5%, like Jim Panda was saying just a few minutes ago. But after you watch that video that Anthony was showing, I do believe that there's more than 1%, at least. You know, I'm not saying exactly how much percent, but there's more than 1% of refraction taking place in that video, because some of the buildings disappear, and for entire buildings to disappear on the shore, you don't
remember how clear the skies were when they shut all the planes off after 9/11? Do y'all remember that? When there were no planes flying, you don't remember how clear the air got?
Okay, Hank, can I help you for a second? I'm not trying to interrupt you, but you're referring to Paul, and you're talking about when he was explaining to you about the refractive index of air versus the refractive index of water, with that 1.00 something and all that. Is that what you're referring to?
No, it was 0.00 something. I think it was 0.002. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. But yeah, when I look at that video, I see more than 1%. You know, so
okay, it's not a 1% thing.
Look, the thing about it is,
obviously it must be 5 or 10%.
Will sit and try and argue the point that refraction is negligible, and then at the same breath turn around and say that refraction is causing the effects that other people say is curvature.
No. All I'm doing is applying your science.
Standard refraction is negligible for explaining Fata Morgana, Novaya Zemlya,
ships going over horizons,
inferior mirage.
Ships going over horizons.
You need to read that article in context, you coward.
Yeah, you do need to read that article in context and realize that there's a contradiction on the website that you guys all worship and refuse to acknowledge. How dishonest of you all.
You cherry picking rotten fruit.
Refuse to do anything.
Applying facts, applying your physics against you, and you do not like it. Isn't it a shame
y'all
when you're
been talking about this all night, but it's just like water.
In black and white, Riley.
This is what happens when you talk to diverting and playing games on semantics.
It's just like the angular size calculation that you guys won't
Water vapor exists as an invisible gas in the air. The amount of water vapor in air varies according to the temperature and density of air. The amount of water vapor ranges from trace amounts up to 4%. So you got to think about how much.
None of it's to do with the radius.
Water do?
What does water do? Don't ask. You tell. This is time to tell, not ask. You're making a point, David. It's on you, big boy. It's on you, big boy. What does water do?
Water's going to
what does water do, David? What does it do?
It's going to be the refraction area. The more water you look through, the more refraction you're going to get.
And how much water is there, David?
It depends on how dry the air there is.
We're not looking through a glass of water now, are we?
Dry air is
actually we are. That's exactly what
we're not looking through a glass of water, David.
Yeah, we actually are. When we look through the atmosphere, we're looking through water.
Temperature gradients are the main driver in refraction.
Not radius.
And it depends on how close you are to the ground. The closer you are to the ground, the warmer the temperature. Ground always stays warmer than the air above it.
Now you get a source that backs up your little insinuation here about water.
Why would he get a source when you guys will dismiss it anyway?
Get a source for it. He's just
going to smash Paul's here. He's going to smash.
You'll claim that it's been semantical if he does.
Listen to sources.
Hi guys.
Been joined by a new guest, Paul. Hello. How you doing?
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, good.
Good to have you here. Nice to see you again.
Yep,
Oh,
good.
more willfully ignorant people.
There's a point I need to bring up. I've been trying to get people to show Anthony this. You go back to that metabunk calculator and right down at the last sentence, just above that diagram on there, you'll see that it reads, actual atmospheric conditions can vary and the resultant refraction can be complex, especially close to the horizon. See here.
Oh, the problem is, Paul, you're missing context.
Why don't you press on the word here and see what it says?
The overall effect of it in context is it's negligible and not worth calculating for by Mick West's own journal reference. So you can try and debunk me if you want. You're actually debunking Mick
Riley.
West.
You're reading it out of context. You're cherry picking, dude. It's in
there. No, darling, not cherry picking. Applying your science.
The more water molecules you're looking through, so you're not going to see as far.
Now that Paul's here, I want to deal with you, Paul.
This is not about distance. This is not about how far you can see, David. This is refraction, the bending of the light.
Well, because you're saying it's because of the curve of the Earth, right?
Of course. Without the curve of the Earth, there wouldn't be curve in the atmospheric layers.
No, the water in the atmosphere would do it. The water in the atmosphere would do it.
Okay.
So, back that up.
Okay. Have a look at the screen I'm sharing, please. Okay. All right.
It's got Mick West from it. You can't cite Mick West.
Yeah, and do you see what it says? It says the value of 7 on 6R is just a rough approximation of the effect of refraction on the apparent radius R of the Earth. It's very approximate as the atmosphere is quite variable. Basically, though, you do the same calculations, but the larger radius gives you the reduced curvature. Okay,
so why
they're explaining
we can see the curve bending
7/6 on R comes from. Okay,
I think
it's an approximation.
So why is it we can see the curve bending up on the three photos I cited, Paul?
Huh? Y'all got knocked out. Riley knocked you out.
Nah, dude.
Paul, if that's true, Paul, why is it we can see the lights curving up?
Claims victory.
Besides, all of that is beside the point anyway, because you've picked a part of the video, one part of a video that shows it straight. Yes, you have.
That's not true. You weren't watching me, Paul. Clearly,
part, it shows curvature downwards. If you go before that, it shows curvature downwards. So why are we arguing here? Because
you've not even seen the part, have you, Paul?
That video isn't the evidence, which is the important
That's right.
point.
They can't.
Paul hasn't even seen.
Why are you picking on the part of the video that shows it straight? Why aren't you? Why aren't you bringing up the part of the video that shows that it curves down and saying, "Here, we found curvature of the Earth"?
Can somebody correct Paul's position, please? What did I bring up 3 pictures of?
Fine. All right.
Right.
Why are you picking the part that says it's flat and claiming that it's flat when you're totally ignoring
Nathan, as
the parts of
moderator,
the
can you
video
correct
that
Paul's
show a
position,
curvature
please, with the
downwards?
evidence that I've brought up?
Not only that, but soundly explained why that was flat at that point. He said that they noticed in the evening that the refraction was becoming more apparent, and then it settled down. And that's exactly what you see in the video.
Let's deal
you
with
see
the
curvature downwards during the day. In the evening, when it comes, it goes flat.
Let's deal with your
and then
misrepresentation,
when the
please.
refraction
Stop
settles
speaking.
down, it
Let's
goes
deal with your
back to curving
misrepresentation.
down.
Paul, let's deal with your misrepresentation. You asked why was it I was only showing stuff flat. I didn't. I shown curvature, I shown flat, and I shown it bending up. So you've misrepresented me again, you lying little piece of dog.
Why are you claiming that the part where it's flat proves that the Earth's flat?
No, that's not what I've done. You misrepresented me again, Paul.
That's what you're
insinuating.
What are you insinuating? Just what is it that you are actually insinuating then?
Nathan, would you mind sharing?
He's saying that because of the refraction that you can't prove the curve of the Earth is what he's talking about.
Nath, would you mind sharing my screen again so that for the benefit of Paul, because he's clearly not seen what I shared before.
You can see why Nathan gives him his own like private spot on this show.
I got sniped straight away.
We'll never see.
I hope you're not going to get out those other two pictures, Anthony, because I might have to drive up there and shoot you.
Oh, come on. Don't make any sense, jump on that.
Kick him. Bye-bye.
No, because he deliberately said, it's straight as a die. Those were his words. And he didn't show
Nathan,
these other
are we
pictures
sharing?
earlier either.
Nathan, are we sharing?
Yep.
Right, Paul, for your benefit, because you've clearly not seen my presentation earlier on this Hangout.
I've seen it, Anthony. I've seen it. You're
So
wasting
I
your time.
presented flat, I presented it bending down, supporting curvature, and I presented up, not supporting either model. So you've misrepresented me again, you lying piece of dog shit.
So why did you just say we've seen it and it's straight as a die? Why did you say
Because
that? Because
all we're seeing here is the effects of refraction on the individual lights. And the default position can clearly be the one that's in the middle, because the variables that we find, the maximum value going either way, is either a little bit up, a little bit down, or flat. But where in
you're misrepresenting now, because
Paul,
the down,
Paul,
not just
answer me
a little
this,
bit
Paul.
down.
Where does
Anthony.
the refraction allow for it bending up?
The hell is he talking about, man?
Yeah,
Where does the refraction calculator allow for it bending up? Because it's always bent around the curve of the Earth on the refraction calculator, 7/6 of the radius. Nowhere does it allow for it bending up. So why is that, please?
No, that's the curvature calculator. That doesn't mean that refraction can't cause things to bend up.
Yep. Hang on, Paul. Do we need to
Have
go
you
back
ever
to the
heard
definition
of an
refraction?
inferior
Do we need to go
mirage?
back? Paul, do we need to go back to the definition of refraction?
Absolutely not. I understand refraction way better than you do.
So come and tell me why it is that the standard refraction is based on 7/6 of the radius and never goes up.
It's an approximation, Anthony. It's an
It's
approximation
going down all the
that
time,
takes
Paul.
into account the sum of all of the other effects that affect
Really?
refraction. It's an
So
approximation.
why is it going up then, Paul?
The 7/6 radius comes out. It's in a way of approximating
Down.
the sum
It always
effects
goes down,
of
Paul.
many
Never up.
factors that affect
So we're
refraction.
clearly not looking at what he tells us, are we? By your own evidence again. Ding ding. David, that was your
Can I
bit.
translate something here?
No, you
Riley,
can't. You don't know what you're
what are
talking
you
about, Kurt.
saying
No,
when
you don't. Pipe
say
down.
Going up.
Dave,
Why
Paul,
is it going up?
Paul, can you tell us why it's bending up if it's not to do with refraction?
I didn't say it wasn't due to refraction. Refraction can do that.
No, it can't. It's always 7/6 of the radius, according to
I beg
Michael.
your pardon? Who are you
It's
to
always
say that
7/6
no,
of the
it can't?
radius.
Of course
Always
it can.
7/6. There you go. Look, 7/6 of the radius. It's a curve down, Paul. So why is it curving up on your own evidence?
Oh, you moron! Jesus!
No, this
The
is your
7/6
science. These are your rules, and you
extends the
expect us to
radius
play
of
with
the
them.
Earth,
So we're
flattening
playing
out
with them,
the
and you don't
surface
like it.
to account
Why is it
for the
bending up?
refraction.
Right. It's
How
less
would you,
curved
how
down.
would you put the speed of the sun in there?
Oh,
David, I'm on a roll here, man. Come on. Well,
Riley is
explain to us
ruined
why it curves
forever.
up if it's refraction.
Yeah, why does
Riley
that
just
improve the
wrecked
speed of the
himself
sun?
forever.
If it's 7/16, that's how much Earth is covering, right? That's what the refraction is.
7/6. Oh my God! You thought that made it more curved. You thought that meant it made the light bend down more.
Yeah, 7/6. Yeah.
What an utter moron!
It makes the light bend down all the time. It never bends up. So why is it?
You are
Why
an
is it bending
idiot.
up?
You're an absolutely geometrically incompetent retard idiot, Riley.
Curved, can you not just gish gallop with a load of ad hominem attacks, please? We've got a question on the table, and it's actually the physicist that's referred to Mick West. And he's brought it up saying click here, and then gone to Mick West's site. And the standard question that's on the table is why doesn't it count for it going up? And in the calculation, it clearly says going down.
So, based on that, Paul, can you answer why it is bending up when on the standard refraction calculator it always bends down?
You probably
Because you don't understand. You don't understand. You are
I don't
misusing
understand.
the calculator.
You guys are
Anthony.
simply being dishonest. You're simply being dishonest. This is not refraction the
No,
way your model
you're just showing that you don't understand anything
No,
about
no,
the
no.
refraction
It's evidence
calculator.
that
You
who's
know
all over your
nothing
argument,
about
Paul.
it.
Paul, you're being
You
dishonest.
think the sevens? No, I'm not being dishonest. You
Yes, you
think
are.
that the 7/6
How is this
means that
refraction,
the light
Paul?
bends down.
So I got just a
That's
few
what your
minutes before I have to
refraction
go back in the store.
calculates
So
for.
can I ask Paul something?
You can.
Paul, the other day you said atmospheric refraction is less than 0.0 something percent.
No. That's not what I said. What I actually said was that the index
blah, blah.
of
That's what you
refraction
said.
of
Blah, blah,
air
blah, blah, blah.
is 1.0009. That's not a percentage. That's the actual absolute refractive index of air. Okay? That's what I was referring to there, Hank.
But could you answer the question I asked you? Why is it bending up?
So at the time when we were talking about this, okay, I still must admit I don't understand that. So what would that be in a percentage? What, so 1%?
Oh, I don't know. I can't calculate that. The refraction depends on a lot of things.
No, you can't explain why they bend it up either.
It can be up to 0.5%. It can be more. Okay, but it doesn't take much over a distance of 7 miles to make things look substantially different.
What is that? 7/6 of the Earth's circumference? Is that what you're saying here?
Radius. You increase the radius value.
Is that what
increase
it is?
the radius value in the calculation to 7/6 of the Earth's radius. You add a 1/6 of the radius to it.
So we are coming up on approximately half an hour left on this live stream, so I'm going to run through a few quick links, turn my light on. So if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, which is about 50% of the viewing audience, click that subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. And most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, you'll have to wait for a network error, but simply click on the link in the info box below this video. Be sure to mute the page you are currently watching before you do so. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you will be ejected. And number 2, if you are ejected, please do not try to rejoin using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. One more time, if you've not subscribed, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon and share the show to increase the diversity of the panel. I'm going to transition you back to the action, and as I say, there is half an hour back. If you did want to join, wait for a network error.
Only under very specific circumstances, so, but it can happen.
So I don't know. What I'm not understanding here is 7/6 is 3,428 miles of the Earth. That's what you're saying here, right?
No.
7/6 is always a curve down on your maths. Yeah, we've just shown evidence of your own modeling.
Anybody else want to try?
7/6 of the Earth is 3,428 miles.
No. You're taking 7/6 of the circumference. Are you? Or well, not even really. You're trying to take 1/6 of the Earth's circumference.
No, 7/6 of the Earth.
David, take 39. Take 3959, the mean radius of the Earth. Add 1/6 of that radius. That will give you 7/6.
7/6 of a foot,
which is about 29,000.
Of the radius.
7/6 is 230 centimeters or 7.5 feet.
David,
it goes up from 25 to 29,000 miles.
This has nothing to do with the circumference yet. This is the radius. What you do to the radius to get the value to perform the calculations.
Yeah, but the effect of it is it creates a downward arc. It's just a little bit greater than the size of the circumference that we have.
It creates a smaller arc, flattening out the surface a little bit. Okay, does a smaller ball have a tighter curve than a larger ball?
Can Paul answer why it is bending up, please?
Can you answer the question I just asked?
The answer is yes.
It's the water molecules in the air, man.
Does a larger sphere curve a little bit less than a smaller sphere?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm asking you.
I'm not answering you. I'm waiting for Paul to answer me.
Because
Paul,
you
were asked ages ago.
Answer Kurt's question.
No, I asked you ages ago. How is the light bending up?
Okay, you ask him, Paul. You ask him. I'll mute.
No, I want an answer to my question. Why, on your evidence, is the light bending up?
A curve than a larger ball. It's relevant.
No, I asked you ages ago, Paul. I'm waiting for you to answer. Why is the light bending up when your refraction does not allow for it?
It does.
No, it doesn't. It's based on 7/6 of the radius of the Earth, dude. That's a downward curve at all times.
And here is why we've asked you the question, because you don't seem to understand this. So that's
So
why
you're
we're
distracted.
asking you this question.
Again,
does a
you're doing
smaller
what?
ball have a tighter curvature than a larger ball?
I've got to side with Anthony here, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but it seems to me that you're just distracting from the question. You were the one who made this big song and dance about, click here, look, and then we go to his site, and now you're just ignoring it. It only accounts for it one way. Why?
Why does it
No,
not?
what I
bend
was
up?
trying
Sorry,
to point
why
out
does it not
there
allow for
was
up?
that the 7/6 is an approximation.
Yeah,
It's not
but
a
it's downward-
calculation. It's an
downward
approximation.
calculation at all times, isn't it, Paul? How is that
It's an
possible on your
approximation
maths?
that takes into account all the other factors that cause refraction.
You're
That's the
downwards.
point
You
I was
keep
trying
saying
to
it
make
to you,
with the
Paul. You
click
just seem
here.
to be ignoring it. I
Okay.
don't get it. It makes me want to focus on it more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Why
we can
does
go
your
back to
maths
that if you
calculate
like.
for a downward curve?
There's an extensive amount of information in there that does explain it, but it takes time to go through it.
It doesn't explain the up.
Go
I'm
on,
going to have to
we've
keep
got
doing
half
this
an
to you,
hour.
Paul, as well. I'm going to gang up on you because you're just ignoring it, and I don't understand why you can't answer him. I don't get it.
Well,
can't answer
Nathan,
it
do you
because he
not
doesn't want to
realize
answer
that
it.
7/6 of the radius is a greater radius than 6/6? The Earth's
7/6
radius.
doesn't bend
down. We keep going
that's
over this
correct.
down. Why is it going
What
up
are you
in the
talking
photographs?
about bending down? You're decreasing the curvature when you increase the radius, Nathan.
But why is it
That's
bending
right.
up curved?
Bending up. He's
You're
gone over
making
this,
it
and no one's
flatter.
answering him. Why is no one answering him? I don't get it. Why is no one answering him?
Because the maths doesn't account
Answering
for it,
who?
Nathan. That's why.
Answering who with what question?
Well,
Why
Anthony thinks
is the
he's
light
seeing
bending
these
up?
lights curving upwards. That's the problem.
Anthony thinks that you reduce refraction when you get closer to the surface, apparently.
Another distraction.
Yeah, we've
Answer
got
the
a
question.
calculation.
Why
The physicist
the
has
light
taken
bending
us
up?
to this calculation, Al. The physicist made a big song and dance. Click here. Now he's not
What is
even
the-
addressing it. I don't
what
get
is-
it.
And what is the
Why
effect
is
of
the light
increasing
bending
the
up?
radius?
Why is the light bending up? Anybody, if Paul can't answer it, Curved can do it. Come on, Curved.
Because
Why is the light bending
refraction
up?
bends it upward.
No, it doesn't. It
In
basically
our-
7/6 of the radius bends it down at all points, Curved.
Okay,
The
look.
physicist cited this
Down-
curved. I mean,
down from
are you saying that the
perspective.
physicist is wrong with his citation now?
No. From which perspective?
Well,
From
it's
the
in the
source
maths.
or
This
from
is
the-
what got
from the
cited, curved. Keep
viewer?
up.
From the source or from the viewer?
Atmosphere. Big old
Light
diesel
bent-
truck could have just went by.
light bent downwards as it's coming from the source to your eyes is going to allow you to see things that would otherwise be invisible due to the curvature. This has the effect of flattening it out in appearance.
But why is it bending up, Curved?
Do you not understand the word up?
That's exactly what's happening, Anthony. Okay,
No, it's not,
let's
Paul.
take a ray of light. Okay,
I cannot believe this. Has Anthony Riley literally got a physicist on the ropes, not being able to answer, gish galloping away? This is amazing.
Okay,
I can't,
here we go.
I can't believe this.
Here we go. Okay.
Up.
Let's look at the last light, right? The last light, you've got rays of light leaving it. Now, rays of light that would normally be blocked by the curvature are bent downwards as they go around. They go in an arc downwards. They enter your eye coming at a downwards angle. Your eye doesn't know that these rays of light have been bent, and so they look back along that ray of light, and it appears to be coming from higher in the sky. And that's why we perceive those lights as being higher.
Do you know what? This is hilarious. You're talking gish
I
gallop
cannot
rubbish.
quite believe this. I can't believe this. Anthony, well
that's
done.
not
My
gish
hat's off to
galloping,
you,
it's
my
the
friend.
ray.
Hold on.
It's
Hang on,
amazing.
guys. What didn't you guys understand? Because that seemed really clear to me. So what?
Let's go
so
back to
what
the
is it
evidence
that
and
you
see
find
his
so
explanation
unbelievable?
supporting the evidence. Nath, do you want to share my screen again, please?
No. Answer
Yeah,
Jim's
sure.
question. Because that's really important. You've just said he's talking nonsense. So why is he talking nonsense?
Because it's not supporting what the evidence is telling us. Let's go back to the evidence and let's see what the
exactly why we see it.
That wasn't an
Apparently,
answer.
it's your understanding of the evidence.
So explain back to us what he just said, so we know you understand why it's nonsense.
It appears to be down. That's what he said. In colloquial terms, it appears. It looks up, but it's really down.
That was excellent.
So my question is, to my understanding, that refraction is seen when we have a difference of density gradients. So if you have air and water, the refraction is going to happen towards the heavier gradient. But since heavier gradients tend to be lower than higher gradients, how can we account for refraction bending upwards? How's that even possible?
Well,
This
there is
is
some
not about
calculation
the
for it.
use of up and down here. It really
No,
is.
hang on.
It's that simple.
On your standard refraction, it doesn't account for up. It counts for down, 7/6 of the radius. No up.
Down does not mean it's moving the object down. Down
There would
means
have to
it's
be a
bending
mirror
the light
involved
down.
for it to go up. Okay, it'd have to be
It's
something.
bending the light back
mirrored
down
up.
in your eyes. You would not
And
otherwise
can I
see
just
it
say,
if it
can I
were
just
not
say as
bent
well, this
down
has
to
all
your
come from
eye.
Paul saying that I didn't present evidence that was anything other than flat. And actually, I corrected the position and said I did it flat, bent down, and bent up. How does it work on up? So this has all started from your false assertion, Paul, in the first place. So enjoy this little
It started from your false assertion that everything was straight as a die. That's where it started.
Well, it is straight as a die, isn't it? But subject to the refraction.
You just said up, down, and it curves up and it curves down. So neither of those are
Can you
straight as a
share
die.
my screen? Can you share my screen, please? I'm going to try. Like I don't know how to use paint on this, so I'm just going to try and do it with my mouse pointer and show you what I mean. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
We
Yeah,
can.
is this the
we
ball
can.
you live on right here?
Right. Imagine.
Okay, go ahead.
Imagine that this
Living
is
on
one
a
of the
ball.
lights here. Imagine this is one of the lights here, right? Okay.
Mhm.
And a light ray would travel in this direction, okay? It'll keep going straight out if it's not refracted, okay? Now, what if it's refracted? If it's refracted, it follows the curvature a bit more and it curves around like this and enters our eye coming in this direction here. Our eye looks back along that light ray and we think the light ray's coming from this direction. And so we think the light's up here, but it's really down here. The light curves over, enters at an angle here. We see it as coming from this direction. That's why the light looks like it's up there.
No, that's ridiculous.
What
Paul.
the refraction is.
So it's an illusion,
That's
right?
how it works. The light
an
gets
illusion.
bent like this. It comes at an angle down to us. We look back along that angle and we think it's coming from here. That's
Right,
why the light appears
let me bring
higher.
that diagram up and I'll tell you
Okay.
what Paul's just said. Right, let's translate this. Nate, go back to my screen if you would.
Completely perfect, reasonable explanation. You must understand that. It's not nonsense, right?
Big shout out to
Right.
Make4 for the super chat contribution. Thank you very much, Make4.
But
Nate,
even
just
I
share-
can understand that, right?
Will do,
Share,
your
share my
screen's
screen,
being
Nate.
shared.
Let's translate that to what he's actually talking about. My screen's on now, yeah?
Yep.
All right, so Paul's basically trying to say that as it bends round one way, it appears that it's bending round the opposite way, but in
We're
actual
not
fact, the
seeing the
evidence shows
screen.
it doing this. So how is this
Can't see
explained,
anything,
Paul? Because
can't
that's
see anything,
essentially
mate.
what it's doing.
I'm not seeing the screen.
Not seeing the screen.
Is it because you need to click on me within the Hangout? Oh, no, you can't.
No,
you
no,
guys
no,
can't
it's just
see it, can you?
Nathan's avatar. Oh, there we go.
Right, now we've got it.
Super chat.
Super chat.
Right. Paul, the evidence is showing that the lights are... I'm exaggerating, but just to make the point, the lights are doing that. What you've just explained is not explaining what the evidence is showing us, because that's what the evidence is showing us.
Yes.
So how is
The
that
refraction
explained?
is raising the apparent position of the lights. Yes, that's why they look like they're straight when the refraction is most effective.
Well, the
And Sammy
refraction
made
is
that
a
quite
calculation
clear
for
in
down,
his
Paul,
description
not
in the
up.
video. He said that in the evening, the refraction was becoming more apparent and then it settled down. And that's what
Yeah,
we
he says-
see.
he says a lot of
We're
things. That
seeing
doesn't
the
make it
line
true.
as being straight when the refraction is most apparent.
He
The
says a lot of things
refraction
that does not
effect
make it
causes
true.
the lights to
calculation
raise up
dictates.
and see them higher.
He says a lot of things that does not make them true. The simple reality is the evidence is showing that the lights are bending up. That is totally
And I
inconsistent with
gave
your
you an
maths.
explanation for why we see them
No,
there.
it's, yeah, and you're saying it's illusionary. Essentially, you're saying it's an illusion, and that's not acceptable. That's just not what we're looking at.
But please, can I say this? It appears to be bent
Josh
up
is-
because the light is bending down, reaching your eye. This is a semantical issue here, Riley, that you are not grasping.
No, you guys
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to say it's illusory, I mean, you know it's illusory, right? You know the light's not actually moving up or down.
Are you really
You're
giving
not
this as an,
seeing
is this,
it
is this
where it
ad hoc
is.
crap what we've got to take from you guys, really?
This is what refraction
ad hoc
is. This is
explanation,
what
really?
refraction
No, it isn't.
does.
Refraction on your maths is 7/6 of the radius and nothing
Thing is,
else.
you're
It's a
thinking
little
in
bit
terms
of a
of up and
variation
down
going
rather
down,
than
boys.
around.
Not evidence to
ball.
explain it going up.
Increasing the radius results in a more subtle curve. flattening it in effect.
Yeah, but that's clearly going up.
What is clear?
okay.
What is clearly going up?
I want to play devil's. Can I play devil's advocate right here?
In a minute, but can Riley please address that? What is going up, Riley? There, when I said 76, and you said it's going up.
Drop out.
The last two lights. The last two lights are going up curved.
Because
okay, sorry, man.
Thanks, Al. Al
What
fell
you're
on his
saying,
sword to let
Kurt, would only be
Soundly in.
true
Thank you
if
very
the
much for
lights were
joining us, Al. We're
dropping at a
hopefully going to be
lesser
joined by
rate.
Soundly in a moment.
All right, good.
Oh, this is just the end.
Oh, music man.
That's going to be a sniper then.
Yeah, Al's just dropped out to let Soundly in, so sorry, music man, you're getting booted because Soundly's more important than you. Sorry.
Mic check.
How you doing, Soundly? Good to have you.
Hey, guys.
Howdy.
Soundly, can I just say, Soundly, this? I'm not attacking you. It's not a personal attack. I'm just looking at the evidence that you presented, and that's it.
Yeah, so there's an entire day of time lapse there, and then in the entire day you can see that the bridge is obviously curving. And then whenever the sun drops and the temperature of the air starts dropping, it takes a while for the water and the air to equalize temperature-wise, and that's what creates turbulence. This is a well-known phenomenon, especially among astronomers. So it's really not something that's debatable, to be honest.
Well, it is debatable because your maths on your calculation thing accounts for it being 7/6 of the radius to account for the refraction, and that is an arc going down, and that is not what we're seeing in your evidence. So the calculation for refraction on the Metabunk website is clearly wrong.
Rise higher. Refraction causes objects to rise higher. Again, this is a well-known phenomenon among astronomers. This isn't debatable.
Yeah, I agree with you. It causes refraction to go higher, but on your maths on the Metabunk website, it doesn't allow for that. It calculates it based on 7/6 of the radius, which is a continuous going down.
Okay, I've asked you before, Riley, and I'll ask you again. Give me an obstruction height calculator based on flat Earth geometry, and then we'll compare it against my observations.
Sandy, listen, put this in context. I'm not attacking you here. I'm attacking the website.
You don't have that because there is no such thing.
Yeah, but we also don't have $52 million a day either.
Whenever I go to the bottom of the levee and I only see 4 lights and 3 lights are completely obstructed by the horizon, then it's because there's a horizon blocking them.
Not because of the curvature.
There's no obstruction height calculator for flat Earth because there can't be any obstruction. So
yeah,
whenever there is obstruction,
every single time we see a horizon, there's always that mirrored line.
That shows when there is obstruction, that shows that there is something blocking it. It just happens to be exactly where spherical model predicts it to be.
Well, it's not even exactly either. It's usually out. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that you're accurate with the perception.
Whenever the atmosphere is calm, it is almost exact. Yes.
Yeah, but
it is.
What is it though, Soundly?
There are
what is it,
effects
Soundly,
that change that, and there's a range, right?
Soundly,
but
listen.
But there's still obstruction.
Soundly, listen. Which is based on which?
Because that's what observations show.
Soundly, listen. Which is based on which? Is it the evidence that's based on the refraction, or have they base the maths on the way we see the atmosphere? In other words, it's got no relevance to the curvature whatsoever. It just matches what we see.
There's only one model that can predict the observations that we see in reality, and that model is called the conventional model.
But the miles apart.
Until you have a model that can make predictions of the observations we see in reality, you have absolutely.
Yeah, but Soundly, do you remember when we were in Rich
scalloping and word salad?
No. Soundly,
it's hilarious that you say that you weren't attacking me because that's all you do. You're obsessed with me, Riley.
I haven't attacked you.
It's like you're my own little fanboy, my stalker on the internet. All you do is go around
you at all, Soundly.
Debunk Soundly. It's not about the truth for Riley. It's just about
all about the Metabunk website.
That's all it is, and everybody knows that, and that's why you get the majority dislikes.
I haven't attacked you in any way, Soundly, and I credited you at the beginning of the last hangout.
No one likes you.
Doesn't matter. I haven't criticised you at all.
What are you talking about, man?
Sorry, that was a ding, man. Come on.
I haven't attacked you, and I've been genuinely honest with you with everything that's been said. You have presented evidence that bends up at the end, and that's not consistent with the Metabunk calculation.
For the last year is stalk me and attack me, and every single time I meet your objections, and you just jump to the next one because you can't stick on
You've
top
attacked him relentlessly, Anthony.
No,
Relentlessly.
I haven't. I just don't agree with your observations.
It's a comedic experience to hear you say that I'm not attacking you, because that's all you do. It's like what you live for. I'm not even sure you have a
Believe it or
job.
not,
I think
Soundly,
that's all you do.
we weren't
year
talking
round.
about you.
Just sit there and attack me.
Do you have videos on your channel that use the word fraudly?
Fraudly, yeah.
Yeah, that's because
how I
he
got
is
to find
fraudly.
you, Anthony. Was attacking.
This whole hangout was not meant. We didn't mention Soundly.
You've not one time ever provided.
Hey, Riley.
Sort of a debunk, Riley. Ever.
You got to argue with them with regular math, man. That's what's happening here. When you look up 7/6, it's like 7/6 of an inch. You know what I'm saying? It's not calculable like that. Okay?
What are you talking about?
Because you're talking about refraction. How far is it if you measure everything in feet, and centimeters, or whatever, however you want to do it on?
David.
God, Dave.
I appreciate the attempt.
Do it in layman's terms. See, you guys like to turn stuff around where it's not, where it sounds like it's something that people can't figure out. Okay.
I can help.
Give David a thing for that. Go on, Dave.
Don't leave the hangout, David. Stick around after this is over.
Man,
and we're gonna tutor you, okay?
You guys like to.
We're gonna
beat up
tutor
on
you,
him, but
David.
he's in a corner.
We're gonna get you
come to
through.
Rick's.
He's knocked you out already.
Yeah, that's cool.
15 minutes ago.
Come to Rick's. Rick really wants to hang out with you.
How about let me share something, okay? How about this?
Well,
Can I share something, Nathan? Let me share something.
Hang on, David. I did the calculation for you that you wanted, and it.
Go ahead.
What that calculation does is it makes the Earth effectively 29,000 miles in circumference.
That's what I said ages ago.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You got because 2 7s plus 4 7s equals 6 7s. But I understand what you're saying, but you got to do it on what the actual mileage is and how many.
We're not doing 6 7s.
I just gave it you in miles.
Refraction of the sun is what you're talking about, okay? And that's what proves the curve.
All right. You take
right, Nathan. Do us a favor, Nathan. While we got Soundly in, would you share my screen, please?
Yep, no worries.
They get you in this algebra. That's where they run you off the rails.
Here we go.
Soundly. Believe it or not, we weren't talking about you tonight. It was nothing to do with you at all. So this concept that you've got that I'm constantly attacking you is not true. What I'm talking about is why the light is bending up at the end of
the channel, man.
Soundly, can you explain to anybody? Guys, listen. Soundly, are you able to explain why the lights at the end appear to be bending up against the rules of refraction on the Metabunk website? Not against you, against the Metabunk calculation for refraction.
That is what refraction predicts. It's not against what refraction predicts. It is exactly what refraction predicts.
And we explained it to you, Anthony.
Let's go back to the refraction definition, because clearly Soundly's not seen the early part of the show.
Hold on. This is a guy that thinks there's less refraction.
Who's a liar?
Down.
That
there's less refraction
Soundly.
at 6 inches than there is in the mountains. I mean, this is what Riley said just yesterday or the day before, that at 6 inches there's less refraction than there is at the top of the levee. I mean, that's
what I said was
bunk, dude. You don't know anything about refraction.
That sounds smart to me.
What I said was the Bedford Levels experiment full of 6 inches for a good reason.
The closer you get to the ground, the thicker the air is.
Guys, so listen, let's stay on track.
Exactly.
We've got about 10 minutes left. If we can try and stay on track.
He's saying the opposite. He's saying that
guys,
there's less
he didn't say the opposite of that. Did you say the opposite of that, Riley?
He absolutely did.
Let me ask Soundly one question.
Why we didn't have the lamps at 6 inches?
Let me ask Soundly one question.
The lamps at 6 inches because there's less refraction.
Stop. Right, Soundly.
Question real quick. Depends on how dry the air is.
Soundly, let me ask you a question that neither Paul Soundly, let me ask you a question that neither Paul or Curved have been able to explain or answer properly. The refraction's based on 7/6 of the radius of the Earth. That is a continuous arc going down. You say,
which is how much is 7/6 of the radius of the Earth?
David, we've only got a few minutes left.
18 miles is what you're saying, right? You got to talk about it in miles, man.
David, shush a minute. You're on my side. Shut up.
What you got to do? What you got to do?
Because you got light and day. It depends on where the sun's at. If it's at high noon or if it's in the evening time.
No, David, we're talking about 7/6.
Nathan.
No, you get. This is where
Thanks
they
for
they
muting.
back
We're
you
talking
the
about
corner,
7-6.
Riley, because they don't talk common sense with you.
We're
No, they don't
talking
talk
about
common sense.
7-6. Now, what is your claim, Riley?
Right. So I've asked Paul and I've asked Curved, and neither of them have answered the question satisfactorily. The maths is based on 7/6 of the radius. That does not account for a curve going up. It only ever accounts for a curve going down. Now you say that
What are you
refraction
talking
is
about?
allowed to do that.
That
It isn't
effectively
according to that.
flattens.
Answered it and you refuse to understand it, Anthony.
Because you guys are lying.
Answered it
Answered it
multiple
multiple
ways.
times,
Paul.
and you refuse to understand.
Let's
David
soundly
and
answer.
Paul,
Let's soundly answer.
we've got a new guest. Can you just let soundly answer the question? He hasn't got to the end of the question once. We've got about 3 minutes
Riley-
left. Can you just let soundly answer once we've had the question once?
Yes, but you realize that Riley jumped on me and Paul with that question. That's why we were answering.
I gave you ample opportunity to answer it, both of you. Come on, be reasonable. Just let soundly answer.
Then let him.
Okay.
He asked
This
us.
controlled dialogue has many facets.
I will answer.
Both sides of the argument. That's how the controlled dialogue.
I will answer
Look
the
up
same
Hegelian
way I
dialogue,
answered.
everyone.
I'll answer the same way I answered before. Just the math is based on ideal settings. If you're not in ideal settings,
not,
the
is
math
it?
isn't going to work out exactly perfect. But if you don't have an obstruction height calculator based on flat Earth geometry, then you have nothing. That's
Let
the
the
whole
record show that
point.
Soundly's not
Our
answered the question.
calculator matches way better than yours does.
That's not an answer.
The
No.
math
It is
the
an
same
answer.
on
It
a flat Earth
absolutely
as it
is
is
an
on a
answer.
globe, man. You
Why is
can't
it bending
prove
up,
any
guys?
different. You cannot prove your math any different. You can't prove the curve with your math, man.
Really? Is this really 3 for 3? None of you can give him an answer to this question? I cannot believe this.
We've given them answers over and over again, Nathan. Don't start lying for him now.
Great way to end.
I don't believe you're
with the
still
math
claiming
equation,
you haven't
man.
had an answer, Nathan. I
Okay.
think that's
We've
really
had
dishonest.
multiple answers over and over and over again,
Okay,
Nathan.
can-
Now you're
can I
just
play-
chilling.
Refuse to listen.
Can I play devil's advocate? Because I think I see what they're saying. So if
Yeah, exactly. Why is it bending up, boys? I've heard plenty of Gish Gallop. I've heard you ask him a load of questions back. That's about it. You know,
It's not.
Sorry.
It's not. The light is bending down. That's what happens.
And
But
up.
your
The
refraction
light is
calculator
bending
doesn't
down.
allow for it
That's
going
what
up.
we're talking about. When you talk about refraction, it's the light bending down, which causes things to look like they go up in the distance. That's what happens. That's what refraction
why
is.
is it-
Why are we arguing
So
about
in that
definitions?
case, wouldn't light always bend
Is
up
there
and
anything
make it
that
look
can
like
make
it were
light
bending
bend?
up?
Is there anything known to man besides a mirror that make light bend?
Yes,
Yes, refraction. That's how lenses in your camera
Besides
work.
that, so it can bend up or down. It doesn't matter if it's refracting; it can bend whichever way it wants to.
Oh man, they trust the P900. They trust that refraction works in glass lenses, but they don't trust that refraction is a real thing. It's amazing.
Ding ding.
You'll see
What
upside
about that, David?
down rainbows, do you?
You
There's
gotta
a
give
problem
David a
here,
point for
boys.
That one. That was great.
Has it finished?
No, we're still going. I'm just enjoying the silence. I'm gonna transition across at the end. But if there's a 30-second pause, then so be it.
Get off of that 7/6 radius, man. How about a quarter inch, half inch, 3/4 inch? Why don't you do it like
David,
that?
I have a
David,
question
dude,
for Riley.
It wins us our point,
Are you
man.
gonna run that 7/6 radius?
David,
Riley.
it's Riley time.
Riley, please explain to me how refraction or perspective can explain an airplane that's flying towards me going down under a horizon when it's still over 200 feet in the air.
You really going to bring
Explain
in...
that.
I've just told you we've got 30 seconds
Explain
left, and this
that.
is your response, right? With that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the live audience for joining us on this debate. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of the panel members for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.